Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast. Industry leaders share their insights. It's 5 questions in about 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Let's get to it. Who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Davin Jackson. I am a husband, father, veteran, cybersecurity professional, penetration tester. I guess you could say AppSec and engineer. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Nice. What branch?
Air Force.
Okay, I was Army. You're the smarter of the two of us. It's okay.
Yeah.
And Davin, what company do you work for?
So you're actually going to get the exclusive. I am a penetration tester now for a company called Vigilant. I just actually joined them not too long ago, and super knowledgeable team with the products that they have and their pen testing and threat hunt team. So just happy to be a member and hoping to, do some great things with them.
That's awesome. Good to hear that you got picked up by a great firm.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the next key question. Why do you love being a cyber expert?
So the crazy thing is I actually don't even consider myself to be an expert. I consider myself to always be have that newbie mentality, to always stay hungry and stay learning. But I feel if I have to say I'm an expert or what they call an influencer these days, is the fact that it's because it allows me to help other people, especially in poorer communities who didn't even think technology or cybersecurity could even be something that they could do as a career. So I think that's the one thing that I take with the term expert or influencer.
I love it. And I'm already going to ask a bonus question just because I'm curious. How can we get more of that lower income, urban, whatever it takes, right? Like to get these diverse folks to get through some cybersecurity training? What do you think we can do?
Well, I think there's two parts. One is, I don't want to say dumb it down, but make it less scary. So if we go into these middle schools or high schools and kind of say it in their language, explain it to them in a way that they understand, let them know that they already have some of the skills that we're looking for. I mean, they have phones that are probably more powerful than the computer that I started my technology journey on. So, getting them to look at that as a viable option. And then for the diversity thing, I think we all can do our part, but I also think that representation matters. So I think, having a lot of people who look like the people you want to bring into the group should also be in there to say, hey, I didn't go to college. I grew up in, similar situations. And yeah, I'm not your typical, what athlete or whatever, as far as the money that's being made, but I'm doing okay for myself. So, I think having those conversations and having those honest conversations are crucial. And like I said, getting to them and just letting them know that, you don't have to be like, the super smart poindexter stereotype that you've seen in the past.
And you said it earlier, right? You love constantly hunting for knowledge, and I think that is probably more important than being Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, right? Like you need to just be the guy that wants to keep going, or woman or whoever that wants to just keep learning. So that's awesome. We talk about, and this is a good segue for us, we talk about cybersecurity as a top concern, but what does that mean to you?
I think it means several things. Even just going back with the conversation we were having about the lack of diversity or the lack of, other voices. I think all of that plays a role in cybersecurity. I think, the lack of knowledge is a concern. The lack of different voices is a concern. And all of that can play a role in the threats that we're facing. Mainly phishing targets. I think a lot of people look at cybersecurity and they're like, oh, there's no way that there's going to be doing some crazy elaborate attack on me. And it's like, but in the meantime, you're saying that as you're clicking a malicious link in a phishing email. So I think, that to me is the concern, is just the basic knowledge. I think if we get people to understand that, you do have something that someone wants. Most times social security numbers and credit card information, medical information, that sells for a lot more than trade secrets. So, we have to kind of get people to, all understand that, it's a risk for all parties involved.
Nice. What insight do you want to share with our cyber professional community?
So for those who are just starting out, don't feel like you have to know everything at once. You will burn yourselves out so quickly. I'm speaking from experience. And find some people that you trust, find a network of professionals that you can rely on, and ask questions. Always ask questions and be a sponge. There's no such thing as a dumb question. So ask away and hope and find the right people who will help you answer those questions. And to our seasoned veterans or seasoned professionals, share that information. When I started in cybersecurity, it was almost like the secret sauce. Like no one wanted to share that information and no one wanted to help. And, it made the journeys of others a lot harder, which I think plays in a part going back to what we were just talking about, as far as getting people to understand that it's not that, yes, it's technical, but it's not that highly technical. So share that information, lift as you climb, as someone said it to me. And, just let's just all work together, because eventually, we all want to retire at some point, and we want to trust and believe in the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. So, share the wealth.
I love it. And I feel like in the last few years with the pandemic and all this stuff that has been going on, that we've lost the in-person stuff, but I think we've gained more sharing. I think people are like, man, I just can't do this without other people helping lift the load. So I appreciate that, and I can't say it enough, right? I think people need to be willing, especially amongst your own company, but even across companies, share your knowledge. And so I'm going to ask a final question before the actual fun question, and that's, what is one piece of knowledge that was shared with you that you feel would be awesome to share with others?
I think that same thing, that lift as you climb. So I run a blog and and I'm actually the host of 2 podcasts. So I have my show InfoSec Unplugged, and then I also host Hacker Valley Blue with the Hacker Valley media team. And I always thought that you had to reach a certain level before you could write a blog post or write a Twitter thread. And luckily I found some great people who I consider to be mentors and almost like family, like you were saying, during that pandemic where you didn't have that face-to-face, but you got to meet these people online and then build that relationship. And then when things started to open up, you actually got to go see them and hang out with them. So I consider them to be like my cybersecurity family. And, I kept telling them, these are things that I wanted to do. And I'll actually name drop one of them, Tyrone Wilson. If you ever tell that man that you want to do something, he's going to look at you and go, so do it. What's the problem? And he's going to hold you accountable. And that was a major push for me to kind of start my blog and my YouTube channel and stuff like that, and putting out that information. And I think some of my best content came from the fact that I didn't actually know it before I created it. I was learning it, and as I was learning it, I'm updating it, and people are going along with the journey with me. So, definitely lift as you climb, and it's never too early to start sharing that wealth that we were talking about.
Perfect. Fun question. What's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
So, it's a tie between any video game system, mainly the 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System, or a floor model TV. And the reason why I smile at the floor model TV is because it brings me back to my grandmother's house when I was that young, curious boy who just wanted to know why everything worked and was willing to take things apart. And she allowed me to do it as long as I either fixed it or put it back together by the time my parents came to pick me up from school. I'm picking me up from work, and you didn't want to upset my grandmother. So, so every time, I mean, we don't see floor model TVs anymore. Everything's on a wall and a flat screen, but yeah, floor model TV with a little like push button cable box. Every time I see that, it literally makes me like a 5-year-old boy all over again.
That's awesome. I remember being the remote control for those TVs. So
yep. the remote control or the antenna,
yep.
Person.
Yep, for sure. Well, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Pro podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You did it. You made it to the end. Thanks for watching the Cyber Pro podcast. Check us out for more content.